Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get it started today. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and walk through a couple of different things today. And hopefully have some good information to share with you guys. I'd like to take a minute to let you know who's who and what's what. So who's talking to you today? Well, that would be myself. My name is Johnny Rojas. I'm the VA Rep Orange County Chapter President, and joining us as well is Ms. Diana Sullivan. She is our VA Rep Orange County Chapter Education Director. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Diana, for those who don't already know you, which is less people than not. So.
It's always great to see familiar faces on our classes. Diana Sullivan, 36 years in the real estate business. I'm a broker in 4 states and currently a chief growth officer for 3 state regions for one of the companies here in the area. And I am passionate about teaching and passionate about veterans. And it's been wonderful to get to share what we're learning with all of you. And thank you for attending, because I know every time that we conduct these courses, even as an instructor, I'm always learning more. And I'm fine that you will too. So thanks for everyone that's joined us, and please enjoy the class today and bring us questions, and we're here to provide information that you can use. So thank you for joining us. Really pumped.
Thank you for that, Diana. And being VA Rep, the Veteran Association of Real Estate Professionals, we always start the class or our courses with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd like to ask Diana, if you would, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's do some housekeeping here and get the legal disclaimers out of the way here. The information we're going to be sharing today, in short, is essentially facts, views, or opinions of organizations not necessarily affiliated with VA Rep. We do not endorse, guarantee, or warrant the accuracy, completeness, or timeliness of these facts, views, or opinions. We specifically disclaim any and all liability for claims or damages resulting from facts, views, or opinions of individuals or organizations not affiliated with VA Rep. Additionally, some information in this course, opinions, views, and recommendations. We recommend that you seek clarification from local, state, and federal law, real estate law with appropriate experts. We will not be liable for any of our opinions, views, or recommendations. Our intent is to share experience. However, it's up to a real estate practitioner to seek legal advice for all real estate related matters. So that being out of the way, basically what we're saying is we're giving you the best information that we can, but if you have any questions about it, just please check with legal experts and we can go from there. Why don't you tell them who we are, Diana?
Well, we are the USA Home Ownership Foundation, our DBA, Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals, or VA Rep. We're a nonprofit 501c3, and we are here to increase sustainable home ownership, increase the financial literacy education, and also VA loan awareness, economic opportunity for the active and veteran communities, active military and the veterans. And those are 2 different communities. So pretty exciting. Our members represent and work with all sectors of real estate, housing, and also financial service industries. So it's a large scope, and we're excited to share this with you.
Okay, and then one thing I want to share, a question we're always asked is, do you have to be a veteran to be part of VA Rep? And the answer is absolutely not. A lot of our members, I would say it's 40 to 60. 40% of our members are military, and then 60% are patriots that didn't serve but have either family members or just have a general place in their heart for supporting veterans, and that's key. That's a very big part of how we operate. So I wanted to share that with you guys from the jump so we understand who we are and how we operate. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about understanding VA appraisals. So we're going to break it down into 2 separate sections for you guys. We're going to go over the general, dispelling some misunderstandings of VA appraisals, as well as we'll talk about how COVID is impacting it and how it's changed. But before, we need to talk about the need for understanding VA loans. This one is key. This is one of the key statistics that when I was doing presentations a couple years back, we did a little research, a little digging, and according to several different sources, we came, I basically found out that there's 60, 80, and 13 are some key numbers that I want you guys to know and understand. 60% of homeowners from coast to coast, 60% of Americans, I'm sorry, are homeowners from coast to coast. All right. However, 80% of veterans tend to be homeowners. So you have a 20% higher chance of working with a homeowner if you're working with a veteran population, which is key to you as a realtor and as a lender. So they're homeowners, they're purchasers. However, only 13% of veterans use the VA loan when purchasing their properties, and even though by far, by a country mile, it is a far better loan than any other loan product out there. It is the best loan in terms of credit forgiveness, in terms of DTI. It allows you to go, we've gotten them approved up to 60%, back end ratios. It's very forgiving. There's no MI. And now there's no county loan limit as a Blue Water Credit Act. You can buy, as long as you can afford the payment and you have the residual income, you can buy a $7-8 million home with no money down. The largest purchase ever done in the United States to date using a VA loan was a property purchased in Beverly Hills for $15 million. So it is possible to do this. And with Blue Water Credit Act that was just enacted 2 years ago, there is no longer any limit on the funding fees restrictions, or they don't have to put a certain percentage down. It truly is a no money down program. So let's talk about it. What are we here to talk about today? Let's get into the appraisal piece of it. All right. So Diana, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so our learning objectives today, we're going to define the appraisal issues and what our VA appraisers are actually looking for. We want to understand the VA's MPRs, and this is MPR is something that you're going to hear throughout the case. So just these are minimum property requirements is what MPR stands for. So we're going to take a close look at those today.
Yep. So let's dig into this and let's talk about what MPRs are and the legal language would be. So the key things are for VA loan guarantee purposes, what they're looking for, it's very similar to convention. You're going to hear this over and over and over, but what you're looking for is reasonable value, meaning it's a very common sense approach, just like anything else that we would sit there and find that a reputable appraiser would say, this is our value, this is what we're going for. And they have no personal interest in it. It's, again, guys, the key thing that you're going to see here is that the takeaway is a VA appraisal is not a mystery. It's very similar to its cousin, the FHA appraiser, and its ugly sister twice removed, the conventional one. So that's essentially what the VA appraisals are. They're similar, a little bit of differences, and let's get into those. First of all, let's dive a little bit deeper. Diana, would you take this one and talk about what's reasonable value versus market value?
I love this topic here, reasonable value and market value. And as we know, the VA considers the reasonable value and market value to be synonymous. Okay. Again, you may want to take some notes on this because, again, there's going to be some ahas as we go through. The VA's definition of market value is consistent with that used by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and other major appraisal organizations. So the appraisals should be ordered right away to get enough time to complete the appraisal. And we have the 10-day rule.
Yeah, so Diane, if you don't mind, I'd like to jump in on this one because I'd like to clarify a couple of things for you guys on this one. So back in the day, one of the biggest complaints that we would get as lenders is, the VA appraisal takes so long. And frankly speaking, that was fairly accurate in all honesty. Why? Because of 100 appraisers that are in this area, in whatever area we're looking at, maybe 5 or 6 of them were VA qualified. So they would take a long time to do it. However, since there was a revamp on the VA, just overall VA systems, about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was a big change. There was a big push by Congress to make sure that veterans were getting their services in a timely manner, medical benefits, financial benefits, and housing benefits. The VA has started enforcing and has been doing a really good job at honoring their 10-day rule. What is the 10-day rule? Is once the loan gets requested through the VA portal, they have 10 days to produce that report. And they have been, from what I've seen on the lending side, they've been fairly accurate on that one. If it's not, it's a little bit delayed because of the impact on the market, but it has not been very much longer than traditional conventional loans. As a matter of fact, we've been seeing that some VA appraisals are coming in sooner than their counterparts, than their conventional counterparts. So this is why I wanted to point out on this one, because they're very, very specific on their turn times right now. And so it's not a bad thing, guys. It's not a horrendous thing to do those. So okay, Diana, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and it's important to know that the VA loan appraisers are assigned arbitrarily, so they will avoid any conflict, and you are not able to request a specific appraiser. I've had people mention that, can't we get a certain one? And no, the answer is no, they are assigned arbitrarily. So next, the appraisers go through rigorous training, and they want to ensure that the borrower is receiving a fair and accurate appraisal. And lenders must have a fully executed RPA to place the order. And as a realtor, I'd like to add that you want to have your paperwork in place. Have your paperwork clean and ready, and get it done on the front end. Okay. Sometimes I think people tend to wait, and you don't want to wait. You want to just really get the work done on the front end of this process.
Yeah. And also, guys, just to kind of reiterate on that one, the reason we have that one as the last bullet point is the government is notorious for making sure that your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. So they will reject it. So they be fully executed, including page 10, the whole 9 yards. So just know that part. It might require to make sure that we fully vet the RPA, but that's really what that point is. And the way it works is the processing teams will upload the appraisal request through what's called the VA portal, which is how the appraisers get assigned. And so we want to make sure that we don't have any delays on that part, because we just didn't maybe fill out the contract thoroughly. So let's just be careful about that, and we should be good to go. All right. So let's talk about the MPRs. What does that mean? Well, the key thing here is that they're similar. The property requirements are similar to conventional FHA appraisals in the terms that we're going to be looking at the same thing, guys. You're going to want to make sure the property meets the building code, that it meets federal regulations and HUD requirements. That's it. And the thing is, think about it. If you're doing a conventional loan and it has some serious issues, or there's anything wrong with the building codes or federal regs or HUD requirements, you're still going to have the same problems that you have. So the takeaway from this section is to understand that they are similar to conventional FHA appraisals. There's nothing mysterious about it. They don't have any extra anything on there other than make sure that they're safe and ready to go. And in existing and new construction cases, they have to, again, meet safety issues, structurally sound, and sanitary. So, or as we used to say in the service, you have to make sure that you meet the health and welfare standards that are needed to consider it to be a habitable home. So if the appraiser notices a condition that impacts safety or health and welfare, they're going to make a note on it and require that the correction be done by a professional with a full disclosure to the veteran. Now, what's very important to understand, it's very similar to the termite report piece of when you get a termite report, every single VA loan is going to require a termite report. And the veteran has to sign. The undersigned veteran, acknowledge that I've received a copy of this report and the repairs have been done and to my standard or in a workman-like manner to my satisfaction. They have to sign that. They have to physically acknowledge that they received the report and they're well aware of the condition of the property. Same thing applies here. You're going to want to make sure that it meets a minimum property requirement. So it's a little bit more thorough, but I think it's still a good that's good practice pretty much across the board on any type of appraisal or property that you're working on. And then you as agents, you obviously want to have a great relationship with the borrower. So we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence on that end as well. Okay, but Diana, why don't you let us know, let's do a little bit deeper dive on what the definitions are of safe, sound, and sanitary, so everybody understands it. We're not speaking.
I want to reiterate too, Johnny, what you just said isn't that what we all want for anyone in home ownership? So yeah, to me, a lot of these are just common sense, right? And very important. So it's good that we have this framework to work from. So safe, sound, and sanitary. Safe, we want the homes purchased with the VA loans, they must be safe, period. They have to be safe. The VA appraiser will examine each part of the home and check for potential safety hazards. We obviously would encourage that. Sound, structural integrity, another basic requirement for homes that are purchased with VA loans. The appraisers will cautiously evaluate the home and check for structural weaknesses, right? So it has to be safe and sound. And then finally, sanitary. A home needs to meet rudimentary sanitation guidelines to garner final VA approval. So it's just that simple: safe, sound, and sanitary. That's what they're looking for.
And essentially what this means, it's similar, just like, again, we're just hammering down that point. It's the same as any other appraisal condition that you need to have, you know? So let's talk about what if we're a little bit outside of those guidelines, because I actually have a couple of examples. So there's variations and exemptions. The VA can agree to modify based on particular geographic areas or things happening in site. We're conforming to those things would be impractical or impossible. But in order for the VA to waive any part of the MPR, the minimum property requirements, the veteran has to be under the contract to purchase a property. The veteran and lender request the exemption in writing. Again, document the whole thing. And even after they waive those MPRs, they're going to talk about, the property is still habitable from the standpoint of safety, structural soundness, and sanitation. And they're satisfied that nonconformity is taken into account by the way of the depreciation of the VA evaluation. Meaning, if there's something wrong with the actual structure itself, they're going to basically shave off a little bit of the value there to account for that. So, what is an example of something like that? Well, I'll give you one example. There was a scenario where we're doing a VA loan out there in Porterville, which is like about an hour or so north of Bakersfield. So it's a lot of rural area, not a lot of urban areas. And there was a property, believe it or not, that had a den of coyotes. They bought the home and then they dug a den under the home. When the appraiser went to go take a look at it, there was a den under there. So the guy calls the agent and says, "Hey, there's a den under your house here. I don't know if it's affected the structural integrity of the property itself." And so he's like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" He's like, "Well, go get a shovel." So that's exactly what they did. Chase the coyotes out, and then they filled it up again. And he's like, "I don't know if this is structurally sound or not." And then they called an engineer and to take a look at it. And he says, "I believe it is, but there's no guarantee that the coyote isn't going to come back." The engineer says, "Yes, it's structurally sound, it's fine, but if they come back again, they might compromise your same situation." So in that situation, the VA had to be like, "Well, okay, you're cool. You understand there's coyotes in the area. It's your responsibility to make sure that you allow them not, because once they're the creatures of habit, they'll continue coming back. And you have to keep an eye out for that." And he says, "I understand that." Okay, they signed off on that. So that's a kind of strange example that could happen, but it happens. It's just a one-off. But just be aware that, like anything else, you can negotiate your way through these things. All right. So let's talk about the notice of value, which is well, go ahead and Diana, just walk us through this one.
The notice of value. So our staff appraiser, and again, another acronym that you'll become familiar with, the SAR, the staff appraiser reviewer, who works for the lender and reviews the appraisal, issues the VA notice of value, NOV, which sets the actual value and actual required repairs for the property if needed there. The SARs no longer have authority to change an appraiser's value, but they can and do inquire. If they see something that appears wrong, the inquiry to the appraiser could trigger the appraiser to change the comparables that they use, and therefore could change the value. So it's good to know that could happen. And the SARs can also change the repairs required. In the example that is given here is a fence.
And I'll clarify on that one. A couple of different things I want to tell you. Typically, the SAR for a lender is the underwriter themselves, the VA approved underwriter. So they're the ones that are reviewing it. It's very similar, again, like to any conventional situation. But the notice of value is different than the appraised value, in the sense that the SAR will sit there and say, "Okay, I confirm." It's similar to a desk review process when you do on a traditional conventional loan or an FHA loan, where they are the ones that are going to verify and take notes that confirm that the comps used were there. And they do this automatically, regardless. It's almost like an automatic desk review on VA loans, because I want to make sure that if there's anything kind of weird on there, that they catch it. And if the I'll give you guys a perfect example. That's what the fencing example one is. On an appraisal that was done in the Indian Empire, the appraiser said the fence was leaning in the backyard. It was a wooden fence, like an old wooden picket fence that was leaning, and he was saying, calling for the repairs. Well, the seller didn't want to do any repairs. He's like, this fence has been like this forever, and I'm not going to spend any money on this thing that's, dilapidated piece of junk. And the appraiser was like calling out that it needed to be repaired or removed. So we rebutted it with the SAR, and the SAR looked at it and it says, okay, well, it's a danger if there's little kids involved or anything like that, but it's actually, since it's not part of the home, it's a judgment call. And they asked they spoke with the borrower through the agents. The borrower confirmed, says, listen, I don't really care about this fence. I'm going to tear it down anyways, because I want to put a block wall in. So can we just move on without it? And that's going to be my first order of March. And then the underwriter said, all right, as long as you're willing to put that in writing and accept the fact that that's the condition of the property and that we don't need to have it, and you understand that that you're fine, because I'll be okay with it because it was a small section of the property. And then she says, okay, so they went ahead and moved forward with it. So that's kind of one of those things where you have power. It's not black and white set in stone. And the reason that we want to point this out is for that you as agents understand that VA loans are not as mysterious as anything else, and VA appraisals are no more mysterious than anything else. They're all subject to negotiation, and there is flexibility. So you can negotiate through certain pieces on it, on your condition of the property and even the value. But that's the next slide here. Let's talk about how do we go through that. What do we do? And so, Diane, you want to take this one?
Absolutely. And this, again, was another eye opener, because as you just said, everything is negotiable, right? Just like in other transactions that we conduct. So disputing an appraised value. If the appraisal is completed and the value is below the purchase price, there are some options to dispute the value. Again, and we're doing this through the official VA channels, through their procedures. The staff appraiser reviewer, or SAR, the first channel of dispute is through the SAR on the lender's team. So that person's responsibility is to review the appraisal, and they want to make sure that it's accurate and that it was done correctly. Okay. And again, remember, they've had a lot of rigorous training in this area. If there are some technical deficiencies, the appraiser, say, passed up better comparables, for example, the SAR is responsible for checking those details, regardless if the value came in or not. So it's kind of a checks and balances, if you will. And then they may submit a rebuttal request via the VA portal. So that portal, again, is going to be an important part of the process.
And it's again very similar. We just had one that we were working with on a condominium complex in Santa Ana where the value didn't come in where they wanted it to be. So the agents were like, well, hold on a second. Here's some additional comps. This is our argument. It's a very similar process. Presented it to the SAR. She looked at it. She agreed. We submitted it to the VA portal, and they made the adjustment as needed to get the value where we wanted it to be. Now, here's a question that I've been asked personally. What if it doesn't come in at value? Does VA allow for the value? And the answer is absolutely. What happens? Does it allow them to pay the difference in cash? Absolutely. It's just like anything else. You can pay the difference in cash, you can cancel the purchase contract, or renegotiate the terms of the purchase. In other words, you have the same options that you would with any other type of loan. Okay, so again, coming back is VA appraisals are very similar to any other type of property, okay, or any other type of appraisals. So let's take a look at the next thing. What if it doesn't meet or not eligible for appraisal? Is that Dan?
Well, that's a scary one, huh? If it's not eligible, well, again, we want to know up front, right? But properties that are not likely to meet our VA's minimum property requirements, our NPRs. Again, property in a badly deteriorated condition. And, would you want to put someone in a home that's badly deteriorated anyway? I know personally, I wouldn't want to do that. Also, a location related problem. There could be that could be an issue. Non-VA approved condo. And I actually do some business out in the desert. And I found there's a few of those out in Palm Desert, by the way, just FYI, if anyone's doing business out there. And then also ownership is not fee simple. Obviously, that would not be eligible for a VA appraisal.
Yep. And so we just got to focus on, ownership being nothing simple. We need to have something that's transferable and obviously better deteriorated. We want to make sure. But here's a good one. This is a key one that I'd like to share with you guys as agents is what if the condominium is not approved? Well, then are we dead in the water? Absolutely not. I had a deal with the condo that wasn't approved, and I want you guys to write this information down, save this information, and take a picture of this screen because this is how you do it. Phoenix is the regional center for California. And it covers right there what states are there. So if you're doing any business in any of these, then you want to contact these guys and you can call them or email them, I'm sorry, and they will literally within minutes help you get a condominium approved. Like we had a deal in South County that the condo was not approved, sent this over to them, sent them the information on the HOA and whatnot, and within less than 24 hours, the condominium was taken care of. And then there was some issue on how they did it when they recorded the name. When the VA approved it, they changed the name a little bit, like because the condo had two different HOA names on there. I think it had to do with like the word "the" was in there, or there was an additional like incorporated or LLC or whatever it was called. And when I called the guy after they responded to this phone number, the agent, you as agents would need to do this. We as lenders couldn't, but once we got the contact information there, we were able to pick up the phone and call the guy. And then he says, "Oh yeah, hold on a second." He goes, "This thing has two different names. Give me a minute." Change it, types it in, hits select, and he goes, "Okay, pull it again." We pulled it, it was done. Literally, you're talking to human beings there. It's not a machine, it's not an automated process. There are people that will answer that right away for you. So this is key information for you guys to have. This is one of the most important things that I like to share with you guys as agents, so that you understand that you do have resources available here. Okay, but let's talk about what's a little bit outside of the norm here. Go ahead, Dan.
All right. And again, that resource that you just shared, thank you for that, because I know that's something that I found extremely useful when I came through this class the first few times. Okay,
Yep.
so outside the appraiser's scope, we need to look at whenever possible, the appraiser will note any condition that's outside of the requirements and specify that a required fix will need to be done to bring that element back into compliance. Okay, so if they see it, they're going to, if it's outside, they'll have to call it out, right? Certain specialty areas outside of the appraiser's ability to judge, items such as mold, foundations, roof cracks, etc. Again, that's where we'll need the experts in those areas, correct? I mean, we all, have experienced that. Appraisers typically will note the concern, require a licensed contractor, and they'll have them make the assessment to whether the issue is truly unsafe, unsound, or unsanitary, and if any correction does need to be made. So the expert will make that decision. And in those cases, a letter from the contractor will normally be required saying that the element is safe, sound, and sanitary via a letter from the appraiser.
Yeah, so it's just like anything else again, guys. We just want to make sure that everything is documented, everybody is covered, and everybody's good to go on the process overall. Let's talk about a specific issue that we're always being asked about. What if it has a permitted versus non-permitted addition? Well, there are no real guidelines about that. It's just a general. It's basically a judgment call. Of course, the USPAP, has guidelines that allows them to really just focus on understanding that what is the collateral like? Like, did the person just add something on their own and make the property dangerous? Or is it something done to workmanlike standards that is similar on conventional and FHA loans? Is it something habitable? Is it structurally sound? Then it's okay, it'll be forgiven. But there's a point here especially with ADUs that are happening because of the housing crunch and whatnot, and the tightness of the market, that essentially our ADU's income is ADU income allowed on VA loans? Not at this time. But are ADUs allowed? Well, as long as they're workmanlike standards, you have a fair chance of getting it done. And if you're in a situation where the property, say for example, it's a garage conversion with a full bathroom and everything else installed, before you write your offer on that, I would recommend you contact your lender and have them talk to their SAR. And if you're able to take pictures of it yourself and send them in, that would go a long ways to help, because the SAR will be able to help you make that determination going forward. So that's just an inside tip for you guys, that if you see something that's an addition that wasn't permitted, don't necessarily walk away from it, guys. You're able to you do something with it. But at that point in time, you want to have a direct channel of communication with your vendors to make sure that we're able to talk to the SARs and get the information that's needed, to you in the right.
Johnny, I think that's a great tip. I really do. And especially we're, I think, going to be seeing more and more ADUs in the future. So really good tip for realtors here. Thank you for that.
Good. Sure, I'm glad to hear it. So let's talk about the next one. Let's go ahead and take this one, Diana, please.
Okay, so canceling a VA appraisal. Well, there may be situations where this needs to be done. Lenders must notify the appraiser and VA if a case, an appraisal order is to be canceled. And if you know it's going to be canceled, you need to do it immediately. If no work has been done, the appraiser will not charge. Okay. If partial work was performed, the appraiser may charge a reasonable fee, and this is all at their discretion. And then, of course, if the report is completed, the full fee can and usually will be charged and will be due. And a little special note here, if the buyer is considering backing out of the transaction, let the lender know immediately so they can stop the appraiser before any work is done. And again, I think this is another very common sense issue. You want to work as a realtor very closely with your lender so that you are communicating what is happening throughout this process.
Yep, it's pretty straightforward. So again, it's very similar to the traditional, conventional, and FHA lending. So there's no big mysteries there. But let's take a look at let's go into the appraisal issues during COVID-19 and what we're seeing on this one. And for this one, I'll pretty much be taking point down, if you don't mind, because I do have updated info that we've heard from national, a recent national convention. So
okay, yeah, and I wanted to also mention, today is June 15th, 2021, and we are sharing with you updated information, even things pivoted in 2020. We needed to pivot, and now in 2021, there'll be some pivots and updates again. So I will share what I have here, Johnny, and then you can include the update, because I know we're continually updating and making sure everything that we are sharing is as current as possible. So these are the circulars, the VA circulars. And the issues here, 2620-11, and you can always Google these, and if you want to do additional research, that's fine. But these are the updated safety practices due to COVID-19. So these were some shifts that were made. So effective on loans closed after on or after 3/27/2020, appraisers will determine the scope of the appraisal based on health and the safety of the veterans and the appraiser. So we want to keep, obviously, everyone safe. And this also requires the appraiser to view the interior of vacant properties.
Okay, go ahead.
So, and again, you'll see we have several of these circulars. They all kind of fit together here. So, secondly, another circular requires the appraiser to continue to gain access and view the interior properties on purchase or refinance. Now, again, remember that they can refinance the home as well in this. In the opportunity here. And it's a good time to talk to people about refinance, right? But that's another topic, but it can be done. So actually where local authorities have not imposed the shelter in place guidance, because a lot have done that. And again, we're moving out of that as we speak. As long as neither party has been diagnosed with flu-like symptoms, again, we want to keep everyone safe, that no quarantine has been required, and that neither party is listed in the CDC high risk categories that we all became familiar with earlier in the year. So if either party doesn't want to proceed with the interior, then the appraiser can do an exterior only. So you may not have been aware of that.
And that's part of the update there is that what we're hearing, our national chapter, our national convention just happened to the on the uh, policy conference where we're talking, part of VA reps role is to speak with legislators on Capitol Hill. We deal with the federal government on a regular basis, and the federal government's currently obviously having their hands off on certain pieces of it, allowing the states to make determinations for themselves. The general rules that we're seeing of today being the last day, but they're allowing each local municipality to enforce their own codes. And that's the thing. So even though they remove the requirement, the VA is going to be very slow in requiring or enforcing people to do interior inspections for the time being. There's no definite answer on that one yet. So they're leaving it as status quo for the time being, and they're constantly going back and forth. So everything that we're presenting in terms of COVID-19 is valid until it's not. And the main thing is the level of comfort right there, where it talks about if either party doesn't want to proceed with interior, then the appraiser can do exterior only. And there's stories that, such as, for example, there was an appraiser that was doing an inspection on a home, when COVID first started, where he was inside the home for the entire, for the majority of the inspection. He asked before he entered the property, does anybody have COVID in his house? And he was told no. And then at the last room, he said, okay, I'm almost done. I just need to inspect that last room. He says, well, you can't go in there. I says, why not? Because that person in there that's staying in that room is quarantined due to COVID. So, that is one of those perfect examples of, the appraisers that, they have to be protected themselves. So current, circular regulations have protections built in for the appraisers. And so we just need to be considerate of that and know that if there's limitations or restrictions on access to property access, the VA is still currently accepting external appraisals only. So that's a very, very key thing here. But let's talk about what the standard means for exterior only appraisals. Diana?
Okay, so for exterior only, they can view the full exterior and provide photos of all sides. I'm very visual, so I can just see the appraiser doing this. Also, they will have a full measurement of the property footprint, and then they'll conduct the interview with the owner or occupant to gather the key information that would impact the value. So I don't know, Johnny, did you have anything to add to that?
Not necessarily. So basically what they're saying is that is something that's a little bit different than a traditional drive-by appraisal, is they want them to actually talk to the owners and have a face-to-face conversation with them to ask any pertinent information that they themselves would have. And then the current owners are obligated, to be honest and truthful in it. So it's just a way to increase the level and quality of the appraisal and the information that he or she would have to do their report. But there's the other option too for desktop appraisals. And so that's basically, if it's too far out, too much of a rural area, they must state, meaning lenders must state if we're going to accept those. On a purchase, the appraiser has a discretion to define the scope. Do I need to do a drive-by or an in-person, or do I do a desktop? But the appraiser has to have the information enough to be able to make that determination. And so what that means, guys, is this. Whether you may or may not know this, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have a database of current appraisals. So if a property was appraised in the last 5 years, you can actually get what's called a PIW, Property Inspection Waiver, sometimes, as long as the value that you're selling or buying or selling or refinance the property for matches what they have, and the addresses all line up, and the title work is all accurate with what they have. In other words, they already have, I would say on about 60 to 70% of the properties that are out there, they already have information, meaning they, the agencies, Freddie, Fannie, and Ginnie, have information on properties. So that's where they're able to rely on it. They're able to use the data that they already have internally, which we don't know. Either you as realtors or us as lenders, we don't know what they do or don't have. But I have specifically spoken with all three agencies, and they've all confirmed the same thing. They already have a database embedded in their systems when they run automated underwriting systems. And they might be like, we don't need the appraisals. You're good. Go ahead and do a desktop one. So the appraiser may be able to find that out themselves when they get the order. So again, necessarily, it's not necessary that we always have to do an internal full inspection appraisal, which is really the information that we wanted to share with you guys, is for you guys to understand that. And um, so for liquidation appraisals, a desktop cannot be used, which is essentially when you're buying people out or doing that kind of transfers things, and you can't use those. But if there's not enough data to support a credible report, then they can't use the desktop, appraisal. They have to do it in person. So that's again the key takeaway here is if we don't have enough information to support it, we just can't use it. Okay, we have to go a little bit deeper because we want to make sure that the collateral is legitimately what the value is, so that the both the lender and the borrower are being protected in their assets that they're lending on the collateral. Okay, and Diana, you want to take this last one?
Absolutely. And this is our very last one here on our circulars. If there is known or visible evidence of termites, a clear inspection must be provided within 1 year of closing.
So
yeah, safety issue again.
Yep. So it has to be done that way, and that's actually, it says within 1 year, but frankly speaking, most underwriters are going to, and I have yet to see an underwriter not require that it be done with the closing. So that's just, this is the VA guideline, but specific lender overlays are going to require, at least that I've seen since I've been doing VA loans, that they're going to require that we have a current. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions in the chat box. So if there's not, then I'd like to go ahead and do a little bit more of announcements too, because we are VA rep. We do this, but we also do a lot of other things. We have a charity organization that we run, and it's called the VA Rep Cares, and we do a lot of fundraising stuff. So one of our main fundraisers that we're doing now, it's actually right around the corner, 2 weeks from, or in 2 weeks, we're doing the Stars and Stripes Veteran Charity Golf Tournament at Monarch Beach. So you want to talk a little bit about that one, Diana?
Yes, we are so excited. June 28th. Oh, join us if you can. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're actually almost sold out. I think, do we have 2 spots left? We are almost sold out.
Yeah.
But this is going to be exciting. But we also have, if you'd like to join us for happy hour, we have tickets for that. But this is going to be a day out on the bucket list golf course, Monarch Beach Links. Beautiful course. People will get to play golf along the ocean. We're actually sponsoring some veterans that day too that will be playing golf. So we're really excited, and we'd love for you to come out and see what we're about at VA Rep. Meet some veterans, meet the board, and maybe consider joining VA Rep. We'd love to have you as a part of our group.
And to put our money where our mouth is, I have a video I'd like to share with you guys, and bear with me as I cue it up, and let's watch this together, guys. It's a couple minutes. Wait, did I share it? The wrong one?
There we go.
Okay, sorry, guys. Let me restart that one. It didn't go through. There we go. Can you see that one, Diana?
Yes.
All right.
We have no sound, Johnny.
I'm going to go ahead and narrate a little bit since we don't have sound. This was our golf tournament that we conducted last year safely. And we always start with the color guard, and we have, oh my gosh, all kinds of fun contests and vendors that are involved. And again, just to kind of give you a taste of what the day looks like. And we just love to have everyone involved. We I know something's coming up. I'll wait till it comes. But again, we're going to be at Monarch Beach in a couple weeks, so on the 28th of June, and it's just a great experience for us to get together and support our veterans and fundraise for them. We have baskets and raffles and all kinds of just super cool prizes. There we go.
So it gives you guys a general idea. I'll go ahead and pause this now. Hold on.
That's
Come
fun.
back over here. Yeah, it's a great time here. And share. All right. And so we're doing that. We're also doing a raffle on or actually we're not supposed to say raffle, it's a door prize.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity if you're not able to make it out. But you want to talk about this one too here, Diana?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. So, and you can always check us out on our VA Rep Orange County chapter Facebook page. You can find us there. You can search us and find us easily. But we're super excited. This was a huge hit last year, and we're excited to be able to do this again this year. And thank you, Louis Dennis, for being a part of this. But this is a door prize. It will be it's an electric bike, and it is the coolest electric bike. I think it's a $3,000 bike, and tickets are only $20 for a chance. So I would just recommend if you want to shoot for this electric bike, we'd love to have you check it out. And tickets, we do still have tickets available. So it's going to be really cool.
This is one of our main money raisers for things that we do for VA Rep Cares, such as veterans that need help with. There's actually a veteran that needs a bike right now. We're working to get him a folding bike so they can go to work. And when COVID lifts, we've helped people get a replacement. We replace their water heaters, fix broken parts in their homes, and we remodel their bathrooms when they have plumbing issues and whatnot. These are things that veterans can't necessarily do themselves, that they don't always have resources for other places. And this is how we raise the money to do that. But we also have another event happening, which is our black tie gala dinner, which is really exciting. This one is going to be actually on Veterans Day this year. It's going to be at the Lions Air Museum. It's called a Walk in Time or a Walk Through in Time. We're going to feature a fashion show of World War II style uniforms. We're going to have live entertainment, big band singing. And we're also going to have Sammy Lee Davis, who's the original real life Forrest Gump. And he's going to be our guest speaker for that day. So that's very, very exciting to have him come out and join us. It's going to be a great event. It's a beautiful venue. If you guys have ever been, you'll know that it's got classic aircraft and classic vehicles. And it's something really cool that we're looking forward to doing, and we wanted to do it last year. COVID took that out, but we've already started selling tickets now. We've already got people signing up. So please be sure to join us before we sell out. And then hopefully we'll be able to see you guys there. But until then, this is who we are. If you want to look us up, you can check us out on varep.net or check us out on Facebook, as Diana said. And this is the board here that we're always looking for more members. We're always looking to add, and we're also looking to, if you guys want to join committees and be part of all of these things and these events that we do, we definitely would like to have you join us. So outside of that, Diana, want to close us out?
Absolutely. And again, I just want to thank everyone for your time and attention today. We're so happy that you shared time with us today. And please feel free to reach out to any of us with any questions that you have. We'll be sure you get the correct answers. And thank you, Orange County Realtors. We're grateful to you for partnering with us and helping us with our education schedule in this year. So we're always grateful to partner with you. So thank you, Orange County Realtors, as well. Thank you, Johnny. And thank you all to those VA Rep board members, participants, and for those of you, again, that'd like to join us, check us out. We'd love to have you. Please, we're here to help. Okay.
Absolutely. We'd like to see you guys again. Okay. Thanks again. And we'll see you guys at the next class. If not, come out and join us at some of our events. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
again, guys. Take care. Have a good day.